Welcome to the Humor in the Household podcast. I'm Alex, and every week we dig into the funniest, weirdest, and most relatable stories from people's lives. From toddlers flushing car keys to grandparents texting the dog, we read them all and try not to spit out our coffee. So grab a snack, take a seat, and prepare to laugh at other people's chaos. Welcome back to the Humor in the Household podcast. I'm Alex, and today we have Bethany and Myron. How's it going today?
We're doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. All right, let's get right into it with one of the first stories that we have. So I had just moved in with my boyfriend, and I was trying to be cute and domestic. We merged our stuff in the bathroom, lined everything up on the shower shelf. His, mine, his beard oil, my 10,000 products. Everything was organized mostly. One morning, I woke up late for work. I was rushing through my shower, hair already soaking wet, shampoo bottle in my hand, rubbing like I was in a race against time. The lather didn't really foam up, but I figured it was one of those fancy low suds, sulfate-free types. Then a burning sensation started. My scalp suddenly was on fire. I'm talking like jalapeno shower levels of heat. I froze like my hair was actively betraying me. My first thought wasn't even something's wrong. It was, wow, this shampoo is is really deep cleaning. Spoiler, it was not shampoo. It was Nair. I had just massaged hair remover into my actual head. I leapt out of the shower like I had been teased. Or no, excuse me. I leapt out of the shower like I had been tased and looked in the mirror. My hairline was melting, not falling out in clumps. No, it was dissolving evenly like it had been erased with a Photoshop tool. I screamed so loud my boyfriend came running in, slipped on the bathroom rug, and hit the door frame and yelled, "Are we being robbed?" I shouted back, "No, worse, I just nared my head." There was a pause, and then he goes, "Like, on purpose?" She's like, "No, not on purpose, Kyle. What kind of psycho scalp waxes herself before work?" Oh, no. The front 2 inches of my hair were basically gone. I looked like a Victorian child recovering from the pox. I had to wear a headband for 3 weeks like I was entering a tennis tournament no one asked for. My coworkers were like, "Oh, my word, what did you oh, my word, did you get curtain bangs?" And I just said, "Yeah, totally, they're breezy." So, word of advice, if you and your partner share a bathroom, label your stuff, because one mix up later, you're moisturizing your skull with aloe and Googling how long does head hair take to grow back. It's been over a year. He still thinks it's hilarious. I still flinch when I walk past the hair removal aisle.
Oh, no.
Now,
That's just like you.
I was going to say, so I have one similar to this, but it wasn't an accident. So I was taking a shower and, I'm going through and sudsing my hair or whatever. So I wash it and I'm like, man, I'm sick and tired of shaving my head every day. So I said, well, what can I do to go through this and, get my head completely just flat? So I looked around and I'm looking at the shower and I'm like, what the heck is Nair? So I grabbed it and I'm looking at the bottle and it says hair removal. And I was like, ha! I said, this is exactly what I was looking for.
Winner.
So I took some, I put it all over my hand, and I just lathered it all over my head. And then I'm waiting, and I'm like, what's supposed to happen? Like, is it supposed to just completely rip out of my head? Whatever. So all of a sudden, it starts burning all over my head. And I took a washcloth, and I started wiping it off, and hair was coming off. I was like, this is great. But the thing is that it didn't do anything on the outside of my head. It only did the middle.
Nice.
So now
Nice.
I have no hair in the middle, like my grandfather, but I have hair all around the sides.
There is one little patch as well.
Where?
Towards the back.
Did he get the nickname Patches?
Not yet, but that's a good one.
Patches.
Well, I'm actually, you know what? That's a lie. I did see it. And you know how I saw it was we were at a grocery store and we were at a self-checkout. Yes.
Camera.
And I looked down like this and I was looking down and I noticed there was a little black thing here. I thought maybe it was like,
So nobody told you.
no.
I thought you knew.
No, I saw it and I thought maybe it's the camera. So I just
They set you up. You were being set up for fun. She needed a kick.
Well, people have asked him, like, okay, you're going bald, but why is it so patchy? And he's like, well,
Patches.
I did. You know what, Myron? You're savage.
You know,
Patches.
So then he has to tell them what he actually did.
But I thought it would work.
It did.
Okay, I thought it worked better.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
It did what it said it was going to do.
Mhm.
It removed the hair.
Okay.
It just didn't do it the way I wanted it to be done.
And it didn't. So Nair is not a permanent solution, though.
I beg to
I
differ.
think it really, like, you left it on really long and it burned.
See, I was born in the 70s and lived through the 80s, so I will never get the Nair commercial out of my head. That's eternally burnt in there.
What was it?
Dare wear short shorts. If you dare wear short shorts, Nair's for short shorts. That's it. That was the commercial.
That is pretty catchy.
That was the commercial for Nair.
Kind of like the Mentos.
It had like a
commercial.
can, kind of like legs kicking like that can dance. Yeah. So I would have immediately swerved right away from the Nair. From the Nair.
I didn't know anything about it, and I just thought it was like, it just said burn hair. And I was like, oh, okay, well, sounds good to me. It will remove my hair, and I won't have to worry about it ever again. But it is true in some parts of my head. It completely just burned it, gone. But
Not the rest of it.
See now, in reference to the gal who sent in the story, I would just like to say sometimes you have to take tragedy and turn it to triumph. Yeah. Celebrity impersonators are a popular thing. A lot of cash out there. So anybody does this accidentally, Sinead O'Connor, always needs to be covered. There's different people out there that you can do. So lean into it. Mistakes happen. And in your regard, you could have been Patches the Clown, and really generated some extra income and brought some laughs to the community.
I could have, but I didn't think about that at the time. I just thought, yeah, triumph. We could make a commercial about that, a Nair commercial about triumph.
Dare to take Nair to triumph. I like it. It almost rhymes.
No, I don't want a sponsorship with Nair. All right, I know they're gonna come after me, but
Allegedly.
yeah, allegedly. I didn't even. You know what? It wasn't even Nair.
No, allegedly.
Yeah. All right, let's head to this next one. After church one day, we invited around 25 people over to my house to play paintball. My house was the perfect place for it. We had 2 acres of woods that connected to 30 more acres of gravel pits and dense forest. Tons of trees, winding trails, and steep hills. It looked like the set of Hunger Games, Youth Group Edition. We decided to play in teams of 2. I was about 12 years old, my cousin was 27. And being the nice guy that he is, he took me on his team. I might have been the youngest out there, but we had one major advantage. I knew every inch of the terrain. The day started out great. I led him to what I proudly called the Sniper Trail, a narrow ridge running across the top of the tallest gravel hill. Thick pine trees on both sides made it the perfect hidden path. We were nearly invisible up there, but we had a clear shot of anyone below. We spotted a guy perched on top of this massive boulder, about 10 feet tall, out in the open like he thought he was invincible. My cousin and I both started shooting at him from our ridge, about 40 feet above and maybe 200 feet away or so. Paintballs were flying, and then splat! One of mine nailed him. My cousin turned to me, eyes wide open, and said, "Great shot!" I was buzzing, heart pounding. I had just impressed my older cousin and made a great shot. This was peak adrenaline. I thought maybe this was my calling, 12-year-old sniper prodigy. We decided to move to lower ground. I showed him a sneaky path through the pine trees so we wouldn't be out in the open. We hunkered down on a smaller gravel hill just off the dirt road, nestled in trees like a couple of Navy SEALs who had been home for dinner by 6. That's when things went downhill, fast. My paintball mask, which was clearly made for someone with an adult-sized head, kept sliding down my face. I was constantly shoving it up like it was a pair of oversized sunglasses at the beach. Then it started fogging up so badly that it was like trying to fight a sauna. I couldn't see anything, just mist. I was blindly wiping at the inside of the lens with my sleeve like it was going to help. At some time during all of that, my cousin stood up to move, and I didn't notice. He just vanished. I looked up, and suddenly I was completely alone in the woods with a fogged up mask and no backup. My heart was beating like a bass drum. So I started wandering around trying to find him. Total horror story, movie energy. I finally made it out to the dirt road, and I saw a figure about 10 to 15 feet ahead walking away. Couldn't see clearly through the fog, just a silhouette. So I whispered, "Jay." No answer. "Jay." Louder. Nothing. Finally, "Jay." Loud enough to echo through the trees. Still no response. So I did what any terrified, half-blind, adrenaline-jacked 12-year-old would do. I opened fire. Not just one or two warning shots. Oh no. I unloaded an entire hopper, 15, maybe 20 paintballs, all at center mass. I was in full shoot first, ask questions later mode. That's when I heard screaming. It was my cousin. I started flailing like a cartoon character, threw his gun and started screaming, "Hit, hit, hit." Now in paintball, that's your cue to stop shooting. It's a universal ceasefire. But unfortunately, my trigger finger didn't get the memo right away. My brain had about a 2-second delay, like it was buffering the information. Once the paint stopped flying, he ripped off his shirt and spun around like, what just happened to me? By the time it finally stopped, his back looked like a connect the dots coloring book, swollen, red, and absolutely furious. Apparently, he did hear me calling. He even saw someone ahead and was trying to signal me to be quiet by putting his hand out. But through my fogged up mask, I couldn't see a hand. I could barely see a human body. So instead of helping him, I lit him up like the 4th of July. He never played paintball again, and I'm not kidding. He sold his gun the same week. 20 years later, we're still great friends, and I still laugh about it. He doesn't laugh. I have one story about paintball. I think I only played paintball twice in my life. No, 3 times. The first time I played, I got invited out to like a farm, and they had everything all set up and everything. It was fun, supposedly. And when I went, I didn't realize what you're supposed to dress like. So I dressed in shorts and a t-shirt. And that was not the correct move.
No.
And I also didn't have a gun. So I don't know what they were thinking, but they gave me a slingshot to be able to use.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal was to, apparently, I needed to go around the map, slowly and just use a slingshot. Pew, pew. But I didn't get the memo, so I just ran right in. And so I never got shot at first. And so, we're halfway through the game or whatever, and then they decide to pause it. So we pause, and they're talking about teams and whatnot. So there's this white truck. It was an old one, and it was just kind of stagnant sitting there. So they said that this is like safe. So if you get to the truck, no one should shoot at you or whatever. So I go over behind the truck. Of course, I'm in my shorts or whatever. Well, I see my friend on the opposite side of the truck, and he's on the opposite team.
Okay.
So he takes his gun and he starts shooting at me. So it's hitting the truck or whatever. So I run behind the truck thinking he'll never get me. Well, he starts shooting my legs. He can see my legs underneath. So I'm running. All you see is my legs, and I'm getting peppered as I'm running. And of course, I'm just shooting with a slingshot.
One at a time.
Out there doing your best David impersonation.
Yeah.
going after Goliath.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that pretty much, I remember that was my extent of the paintball for that day. Like, they didn't give me a gun. They didn't give me any sort of pointers. They just were like, well, give him a slingshot and see how he makes out. And
no, it sets you up for failure.
Oh, 100%.
Set for success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all I remember with that paintball experience. I had a couple other ones, but they weren't nearly as good as that.
Yeah. See, we grew up poor in the bayou, and all we could do was throw around Mama's old gumbo. And that got spicy. And old Billy Bob, he not going up playing with me and the Zatarans. But I'll tell you what, now that jambalaya, boy, I'll tell you, it was spicy. Hell, real spicy like getting peppered. Just like about what you said about them boys getting peppered, but too poor for all that. I appreciate your experience. Thank you.
I have been one time and one time only, and I will never go again.
No, no, it doesn't sound
Never.
for me. It sounds painful.
So I haven't done this. I've heard somebody that they freeze the paintballs
Ooh,
before they do it.
Now that's what I
sounds-
call spicy.
That sounds illegal.
I mean, they wouldn't even pop. They
no,
would just
they
hit your
just smack you.
yeah. I don't think I have heard people do it.
Well, there's always that one.
That's brutal.
There's always that one. That has to bring the savage into it, right?
Now, there is airsoft, which is very similar to paintballs.
Correct.
Now, I did get hardcore into that. I have one funny thing from airsoft. It has nothing to do with even going out and joining friends or anything. So I was at home, and I had airsoft guns in the garage. This was when I lived with my parents at their house. And I had, I don't know, 3 or 4 guns in the garage or whatever. So the BBs are these little tiny plastic BBs. So if you get shot with them, it stings for a second and you're done. So my mother, she grabs the gun, and so she starts shooting at me, and she's laughing, whatever. So I'm laughing, and I'm rolling on the ground trying to escape all these BBs that are coming towards me. Well, I get hit a couple of times. I'm laughing. So she stops, and she goes, well, this can't hurt very much. So she takes the gun, point blanks it at her toe, and shoots her toe. Well, she throws the gun. She's like, ah, and she's like screaming and crying. It hurts so bad. I was like, Mom, I said, why would you do that? Like, why would you shoot yourself in the foot?
Did
with
she
the BB
make you
gun.
like get rid of all of them at that point?
I don't remember if I had to get rid of them, but I just
'Cause
remember
you were like what, 13, 14 at the time?
probably
You were like a teenager.
probably something similar to that, yeah. And I don't remember if I had to get rid of them, but I definitely had to. I mean, she couldn't touch them because I mean,
I declare on my pinky toe they are banned from the region. Thou shalt keep no more airsoft pistols.
You
Yeah,
know,
it was
100% if you got her one right now,
Oh.
she'd use it.
yeah.
An airsoft.
Oh yes, an airsoft. I know. As far like she thought airsoft when we first did airsoft that it was like the metal BBs, but it's the. I told her I was like, no, they're little plastic ones. It's not. It doesn't hurt that bad. But nope. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine her actually like playing anything like that.
They have those new, well, they're probably not new. They've been around for quite a while. The gel ones. I don't know if they're like,
Orbeez, right?
yeah, I would think so. I know the girls have asked us to get them every so often. I just don't know how well they splat, and I don't want to pick up tons of gel beads all over the yard. But they do look
that
pretty
probably
fun.
all pegged into the clothing, doesn't come out. Throw
Yeah.
that through the washer dryer. You got to get all new clothes and.
They'd have to use already stained clothes, which they have plenty of that we use for stuff like that.
They used to have a horrible product in the 80s. It was like a paint gun kind of thing. It had a little disc wheel. I forget what it was called. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was the same premise. It was, designed for kids in the house and, and then the paint things would dry and so that became violent as well.
Do you remember? I don't even know why you said 80s, and like my brain is just pinging right now. Do you remember sock and boppers?
Describe it for me,
They still
please.
sell them.
They still sell them. So I can't even say. All I can think of sock and boppers is the actual song.
Is it like the
So you take, it's like a blow up.
yes, that's
thing,
where
and you put your hand
always
inside,
okay.
and you have
You get ready to have.
you get ready to have the time of your life.
That's the
Whoa,
the
hey.
song.
Yeah, it is. It's what's the song? It's like the theme song.
And
Why is this one escaping?
it's supposed to be like a safe alternative to like fist fighting for kids.
Okay.
So it's just like an inflatable thing.
So
on the end of your
basically,
hand.
it has. It's
Okay,
like a.
okay.
It's kind of like a. It's like an inflatable.
Yeah.
And it has a hole on the bottom side. You put your hand in, and then you just use it as like boxing gloves, and you can
Okay.
punch. You can
They're
punch
for
people.
like little kids.
That really missed me in the 80s. No. I really, sincerely, I'm not saying that
Well,
it's not.
We're
think it wa-
90s kids,
I think
so
no.
Maybe-
When you were saying 80s,
Oh, it made you think
it
of
made me
childhood.
think
I understand.
of
Okay.
childhood
Okay,
because
I'm like, wait a minute. Those would have been so cool.
no, I think it was a 90s toy because
That's
Yeah.
fair.
I wish that they would bring back a lot of the 90s and 80s things because I mean a lot of the
Well,
stuff
it's
is
coming
coming back. A
back,
lot of
yeah.
it is, but like I saw a Sock and Boppers commercial a little bit ago.
well, we got them for Courtney's kids for Christmas a few years ago.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it didn't seem it wasn't the same hype, you know. Like when I was younger, Sock and Boppers was huge. I mean, knock out your friends with
So
the
for a moment, we used to have the inflatable things. You know, you could punch.
Oh,
and it would
yeah.
always roll. You know, like
Yes.
that egg shaped.
Yeah.
So at first, that's what I thought you were
No.
in description of.
yes.
So I was like, oh yeah, no. Oh no, wait a minute. You lost me. What do you mean? You're going inside of it? What?
I know, but it was the funniest. Like it was the strangest theme song.
Mhm.
Like you were talking about theme songs with
Yes,
like
yeah,
Nair.
yeah.
Sock and Boppers was really weird.
He sings it randomly sometimes.
I do because it pops into my head and I just and I sing
That's
it.
the design of the. That's the point, right? That's somebody got paid a lot of money to make sure that that happened,
Yeah.
so to speak. Yeah.
So what I'd like to do is I know you well, Myron. I'd like you to tell me a few of your funny stories.
Uh-oh.
So that way, you know, it's less of me talking and more you talking than
To cast the
I'll cast the burden on
cast the
you.
burden onto me.
Yes.
All right. Well, I suppose I have one that would fare well. As a youth, speaking of the '80s, since I'm in the '80s, we're talking '80s. Let's go retro, people. Oh man, I could just visualize that picture right now with those really short shorts and the really high socks up to my knees. It was horrible.
Sounds
Good times.
horrible.
Oh, '80s and '90s, man. There were some clothes. Anyways, long of the short. My grandmother passed away, and my mother was in the hospital. So my grandfather, being a full-time working man, decided to send Myron to camp for a week. So I was really excited about that, you know, to go to camp, summer camp. Here we come. So anyways, we took a drive to Clinton, Connecticut, from Orange, Connecticut, and I arrived at Camp Hadar. So, you know, again, it's Saturday. I'm jazzed. I'm excited. Meet all these new people. And so get into the camp and hey, it's great. Beautiful place. Get my stuff where it's got to go, to the cabin, meet the people in the cabin. We're all out meeting each other. It's really good. Great experience. Well, all of a sudden we formed into a line and started headed towards the building. I'm like, hey man, chow time. This is good. Can't wait for some of this lunch or dinner at that point. So as we walked in, I noticed it wasn't quite a dining hall, but I wasn't sure exactly what was happening. And as I walked in, I was handed a book, and I was handed a piece of black fabric that I had not quite seen before. Kind of interesting. I looked at it, and then I had recognized that everybody in the building, male, had this said piece of black fabric on the back of their head. So I joined, and I went and I sat down. And then I opened the book, and I realized, Houston, we've got a slight problem here. There's a issue. I don't understand one single letter that I'm looking. I have no idea actually what this is. It's a bunch of pictures, and I don't know what this is. Nerves start setting in. This much, little nervous, not quite sure what's going on. All of a sudden, this gentleman steps up and begins to speak. Shalom, El Hadi. Yeah. You know, to me at that point in time and at that age, all I heard was, and whoa. I mean, I got cherry red. I remember like sinking real deep down into my chair because I knew in that moment, in that time, I was in the wrong place for sure. Had no idea what was going on, what was being spoken. I thought I was dead. No. Sincerely, 6-year-old Myron was like,
You were
They're-
6?
Yes. Said, they're going to recognize I'm not one of them. and this isn't good for me. So I spent about a half an hour in pure, utter terror. Obviously, in retrospect, I had arrived to a Jewish camp on a Saturday, which is Shabbat. And so I was brought into service.
Right.
I had no idea. I had only been brought to my grandfather was a Protestant. So I had only attended Protestant church a few times, Easter, Christmas, things like that nature as a child. So I was in utter, total culture shock, to say the least. Anyways, after we got out of there, I ran fast to where I knew the head counselor's room was, and I began to describe to him that I did understand what was going on, and I was very scared. And he told me, Myron, it's okay. And he gave me a big leather bracelet with spikes on it, which pretty cool, huh? And so I left out of there. So long of the short, I was born Myron Cohen, and my grandfather thought it to be very important for me to find out about my Jewish heritage without telling Myron that he was sending him to find out about his Jewish heritage. So anyways, 2 years, 84, 85, 2 years at Camp Hadar.
So let me understand this.
Please try.
So you went the first year and you were 6
Yes.
and you had no clue and you left with a band on your arm.
A punk rock, in retrospect,
Yes,
it
I
would be
remember those.
very punk rockish, maybe anarchist, potentially neo-Nazi-ish kind of, yes.
Okay, so when you went back the
Yes,
next
sir.
year,
Yes.
did you have to bring that bracelet with you?
No, actually, ooh, talk about memories. Yeah, I traded that for a pack of gum. Like the next day or the day after.
That's
And so
weird.
dude was like livid with me, you know. He was like, Myron, you gave away my bracelet. Oh, but this gum's so good. I'm so sorry. It's Big League Chew, you know.
Oh, that was the best.
Come on,
I would have
man.
traded that for that too.
Yeah, it was savage for like 20 minutes.
So when you went back the next year,
Yes.
did you get another bracelet?
I did not. No bracelet, but I was already a seasoned vet and was able to skip said services.
How
You
was
know.
the camp?
Oh, nice. Good. So good. Now see, on the flip side of that, he sent me to a camp in Florida in the Everglades. I was slightly older. Praise the Lord for that, because I wouldn't have survived. That was Camp Death. I don't know. That's a whole different.
Camp
That
Death.
was Camp Death. And that camp was in, and I was in the bayou. That one had gators, on snakes, on scorpions, everything. Everything possible that could chew you and bite you and before fire safe stuff as well. So my sleeping bag caught on fire.
Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah, no, the batteries in my flashlight. I opened it and the battery acid leaked out, got right onto my sleeping bag, and that immediately just.
Oh my word. Were you in it?
Yes. Yeah, no, I was laying in it. Yeah, I was in it, and let me open up my flashlight, it's not working. And the batteries just kind of shot out, but one of them was leaking battery acid, so it hit the.
Oh my word.
And went, but yeah, no, that place was special. Yeah, black water moccasins everywhere,
Ugh.
alligators. You'd roll down the hill. There were little black scorpions. You'd roll down the hill and just get all bit and chewed up by them. They were everywhere like ants. What else was there? Oh, rattlesnakes. Lots of snakes. Now that place was good. That was good.
sounds horrible.
It was good. That was good. So good. And you went out in these little sunny sailboats that constantly flipped over. And I mean, again, that water was infested with black water moccasin snakes. Myron, not a fan of the snakes. And I'm sure the people out there in the world don't know, but there's not a lot that scares me. even a gardener snake will get me. So, diamond heads and rattlers and whatever other little real funky thing down there on the bayou could stay there. That's why I moved up to northern Maine.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't really have to worry about that up here too much.
No, just the occasional gardener hiding in the wood pile. I don't like them.
I one thing we do have up here is large spiders. Now, when I say large, I know, yes, there's big spiders other places, but we have the spiders that don't give a crap up here.
We
The
have
wood spiders.
the hairy ones.
The wood
little
spiders.
hairy Sasquatch looking spiders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was my lawnmower wouldn't start the other day. Of course, this spider was very small, but I was getting I was jump starting the battery, so I put my hand in there to put the leads on so I stick one there and I stick the other one there. As soon as I put the red one on, a spider crawls over my hand, jumps up to like where the battery charger is, and then props its slow claws up at me, and it starts trying to pounce at me. I mean, it probably was the size of a quarter. I was terrified.
Yeah.
I
Ferocious.
was absolutely terrified. So I looked away for 2 seconds, and I looked back and it was gone. And I was like, oh, well, I thought to myself 2 things. Praise the Lord, it's gone. The second one was, where the heck did it go? Because it could have crawled on me. So
Wouldn't you have felt
It probably did.
no, if it's a small spider,
I feel like it stayed in your shirt pocket for a bit. Probably transferred
better-
over to the car.
you better stop it.
Next time you open up the door, you see a little cobweb in there.
I'm the
You know what
spider
it is.
killer at our house.
You're the
Like,
one.
I have to take care of them. Between him and the girls, it's me. But I don't do mice.
There's always a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
There's always a trade-off. I can't say much. Again, last year down in Florida, at my grandfather's funeral, walking down the street, there was a dead snake in the middle of the road. 46-year-old Myron walked on the other side of the road. I did. I went, nope, not even going to walk over you. No, sir, you might just come back and bite me. Nope.
We were at a water park in when was that? September?
Yeah.
September of last year. And Bethany and I were walking, and all of a sudden, I didn't even know what type of snake it
It's
was.
just a little black one.
It was not little.
It was. It wasn't that big.
No, that's them. That's them bringing us a
It
death.
had, I mean, it was
Deathbringer.
It was like a python. It was
Yeah,
humongous.
exactly. Anaconda.
Yes, it was
Yes.
huge.
Huge.
And it was fully black, and it
Yes.
slithered across the. Nope. I just kind of stood there like, where did
It
that
was
go?
maybe 3 feet long.
Which is enough.
That's ginormous. That's like a 20-foot shark. It's like a great white.
It's
It was like
That'll
Plenty.
swallow like 5
It was
deers or
like-
something. Eat a bear.
it wasn't even like that thick either.
oh,
Makes it worse.
Oh, she was thick.
It was not that close to us either, and it just slithered across the path and went into the
She just
bushes.
slithered.
See, if she can notice that it slithered, it's a big one.
Yeah, no. I mean,
It
I've
was
seen.
black against like a gray pavement. Of
It
course
was-
I'm gonna notice it.
It was plenty. That's all we got to say. It was plenty.
I think I was high school, maybe high school or 8th grade, one or the other. Some fine gentleman brought a 25-foot python to the school for whatever reason they wanted to show us a snake, I guess.
Nope.
Anyways, I sitting behind a couple of the females, I went up to one of them and did a little snake sound in her ear, and she screamed about as loud as you could. In about 2.5 seconds, all you heard was, "Can you please stop screaming?" It's the snake's choking out because it was coiled
Like, for
around
real choking?
for real.
No.
For real. When the girl screamed,
It scared the
it
snake.
scared the snake, and
Oh
the snake
my
began to choke
word.
him, and he turned cherry red.
No.
All you heard
In
was,
front of all these
yeah,
kids?
no. Right in the middle of the auditorium, right, Myron, maybe sometimes lit the fuse for things. And anyways, long and the short, yes, when she screamed, it scared the snake. And I mean, this guy's head was about to pop right off his shoulders. He just, "Can you please stop screaming?"
No.
And then, about a minute later, it looked like he got oxygen back. So praise the Lord.
He's Yeah, I guess.
There it is. Thank you, Jesus.
So I know we talked about this before at one point in time. I don't know, months ago or whatever. You have a hilarious story
Uh-oh.
about when you and your son were driving
Mm. Mm.
and there may have been an accident.
Daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, you know exactly what story I'm talking about.
Well, you know, again, me and my son, we've been on some adventures together. Yeah, no, there was one night, good old Milford, Connecticut, driving down the road, and came on a road. I was heading home, and there was 4 sets of headlights across the street. So it was either a bunch of youths hanging out with their cars, or it was, you know, police or something like that. So I turned down a side road, and as soon as I'd done that, all of a sudden, you know, the car started moving really fast, and one of them started driving really aggressively on the rear end of my vehicle, which may have potentially annoyed me a little bit, and I may have potentially just kind of thrown my car into park. So we kind of came to an aggressive stop, at which point the officer approached the side of the vehicle, and Myron might have been, you know, in good behavior. So we had a few little exchanges and conversation as he was asking me for my registration and license, and I kept, "Why are you pulling me over? Why'd you stop me?" So in between this exchange of words between me and the officer, all of a sudden out of nowhere, my son just out of nowhere, take my daddy to jail. Take my daddy to jail. Take my daddy to jail. It just keeps hammering this
How
out.
old was he?
5. 5, probably right about that ballpark. 5, yeah, give or take 4 or 5, somewhere in there. So, anyways, this goes on for a minute, and the cop walks away with my license and registration. I turn around to my son. I'm like, "Chris, don't do that, please, son. Don't ever do that. You don't do that to your father, son. You don't." Oh, okay, Dad. Okay. Thank you. So, anyways, minute later, cop comes back. They hand me my license and registration and tell me that I'm free to go about my way. Again, I'm kind of looking for an answer to why I was pulled over. So we begin in discussion again. And once again, right on cue, here goes Chris. Take my daddy to jail. Take my daddy to jail. Take my daddy to jail. At which point the officer pauses, stops, looks at me and goes, "Is that your kid?" Duh, obviously. Who else? And he walked, "You have a good night," walks off. And oh boy, the next minute, "Christopher, Chris, you don't do that to me." But that was me and my son's relationship. He had a tendency to put his dad on the spot quite a few times. Quite a few.
And
Love
now,
my boy.
and now that I know Chris,
Oh, yes.
I cannot picture that whatsoever.
Take my daddy to jail?
No. Well, you know, I say that maybe a little bit, but not much. He seems like a very gentle giant now.
There's this aspect with me at times that I'm sure you've come to realize, where I can just kind of take something, run with it immediately, and flow with it. When he was younger, he definitely had shined a bit of that. There was a touch of that comedic genius at times with him. You know, it was good. It was pretty sharp. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I'm still waiting. I'm still sitting there with hope. Like, one of these days he's gonna get me good. He's gonna get me. He's gonna get me.
Maybe someday he'll relive that.
Potentially. I
Sit in the back of
I
the truck.
tell him the stories, you know, and especially the stuff that I know he wouldn't remember. But yeah, no,
Does he
it
remember
shines.
doing that?
He does not remember Take My Daddy to Jail. He doesn't remember a few of them, you know. It was one woman, one time she had an eye patch. I must have had eye surgery or something. Chris just walked right up to her and he's like, "Hey, where's your buried treasure?" Just, you know, yeah, you're just like, "Oh, wow." buddy. We don't say that. That was pretty good. We don't say that. Dad, tell her to walk the plank next time. No, we don't do that in public. So no, it was good. Yeah, he's definitely presented me with a few challenges over the course of my life, and continues by all measures to do so.
Yeah, isn't it funny how kids do that though?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. We grow up, right? We recognize that certain things that we do are not good for us, or not healthy, or cause trouble, or so we recognize I shouldn't do that. Doesn't mean that inside you still don't want to do that from time to time, right? We learn to suppress and no, not for me. So, anyways.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's switch gears.
Ooh.
And I would like to do some dad jokes.
Okay.
What do you think?
Hey, bring it.
So on this segment, we take, I'm going to say probably, let's do 5 or 6 each. So take out 5 or 6 pieces of paper out of the bin.
Well, I'll just randomly pull, or do.
Yeah, go ahead. Just randomly pick some. And then this way we can see, who has the funnier one. Now, some of these are kind of like, they're dad jokes, They're good, and then they're great. There's no bad dad jokes, in my opinion.
Glory, and then there's sadness.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right.
Okay, now, pass me the basket, and I'll pick some.
It picks the jokes from the basket.
I'm going to skip this one only because it's like exactly the same as another one.
Okay.
It's just
Would you like another one?
worded a little different. No, it's okay.
Here you go, Myron. All right, who would like to start?
I'm just going to read these blindly whenever we go there. So I don't know.
Okay, go ahead, Bethany.
Okay. If you see a crime happen at the Apple store, what does it make you?
I'm at the Apple store.
Like product, like the Apple product.
I know exactly.
Okay.
Bethany, come on. We're not talking about legitimate. There's not an Apple store where they sell golden apples and all this stuff.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you thought that it was like actual apples. No, like phones and iPads and stuff.
Myron, did you get a sense that she was talking about a legitimate Apple, Macintosh Apple store?
I got the I got the concept, or at least maybe because I'm an iPhone user, I thought she was talking about
That's what I'm talking about.
iPhone.
Okay.
All right, let's just
Apple
finish
products.
that conversation.
All
All
right.
right, keep going.
But I do understand what you're saying.
Yes.
And eyewitness.
Oh, come on. I was thinking like fruit basket watches.
I still don't understand it.
Like iPhone, iPad.
Oh.
You're an eyewitness.
Oh,
If you
just
see-
like last week, I'm pretty stupid. So some of these things fly right over my head.
Oh, hey. All right. Let's whip out something real classy here.
Do it.
Oh. Why is it a bad idea to eat a clock?
Bad idea. 8 o'clock. Something with gears. I bet it's gonna say something with gears. I don't know why.
No idea.
Nothing? Because he's so time consuming. That's so
These are so dumb.
guys.
Yeah. Why did Billy get fired from the banana factory?
Because he's a monkey.
He kept throwing away the bent ones.
Well, that's quality control. And I give him an A for effort.
I would say that's an A for effort.
That's
But
definitely an A for effort. It keeps him busy. It's like picking the rocks out of the potato conveyor belts. Good luck.
I asked the IT guy, how do you make a motherboard? He said, I tell her about my job.
that's a pretty good one.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's fair. All right, here we go. Not to brag, but I made 6 figures last year.
Oh.
Ooh, call me shooter. I was also named the worst employee at the toy factory.
I got that one.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad.
That's horrible.
What do you call it when James Bond takes a bath? Bubble 07.
Mm. 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 That
You
was
get it?
painful. That
You
was
get it,
painful.
Bethany?
That was painful. That was painful.
See, I know-
Double
I know you
07.
did.
007.
Ah,
Okay.
There you go.
That was painful. That hurt.
That did. It
That
was-
hurt. That hurt.
When I was a kid, my mother told me I could be anyone I wanted to be. Well, turns out identity theft is a crime.
Oh,
That was a pretty good
that's
one.
some good advice from Mama. What do you call a wizard who's really bad at the foosball?
Wizard that's bad at foosball.
At football. At football.
Oh,
Wizard who's really bad at football.
no, I have nothing.
Fumbledore.
Oh, my
He's a tough guy, that Fumbledore.
I went to a smoke shop only to discover it had been replaced by an apparel store. Clothes, but no cigar.
Ooh. Burnt.
A son tells his father, I have an imaginary girlfriend. The father sighs and says, You know, you could do better. Thanks, Dad, the son says. That means a lot. The father shakes his head and goes, I was talking to your girlfriend.
That's such a
That's savage. That's respectable. That's some dad stuff. I like that. Oh boy, look at this. I tell dad jokes, but I have no kids. I'm fuck spa.
Faux pas.
Faux pas. Faux pas. Whatever. I'm good at English. You see that? The best.
was a good
You
one.
never read
Faux
anything
pas.
like me, huh? So good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
What is that, French? Is that French? Faux pas?
I think so.
I think it
Oui,
is.
oui, mon frère, hon. Mouche you in the face off the plane.
Dad, can you explain to me what a solar eclipse is? No sun.
I don't have any more.
Oh, no more?
I'm done.
Oh,
No,
all right.
you're
No,
not.
it's fine.
No, you're not.
No, we have
Bam.
to.
Okay.
We all have to be even.
All right. You used to be able to get air for free at gas stations, but now it's $1. That's inflation for you.
That's true.
Oh, my word.
Oh boy. All right, here we go. Last time around the bullhorn, okay? My dad was born a conjoined twin, but separated at birth.
Mm.
So I have an uncle once removed.
That was good. I can't take my dogs to the pond anymore because the ducks keep attacking them. That's what I get for buying a purebred dog.
That's just quackers. That's just
Oh,
quackers.
A purebred dog. Oh, I mean, how do people come up with these?
No idea.
They're fantastic.
You know, it's people that aren't eating clocks.
That's true.
They have time that is not consumed.
So let's get to our final segment, and this is the Humor Lib segment. So this segment, basically, I'll just explain to you, Myron, because you haven't been on our show yet. I take 10 different words, and they may be adjective, nouns, whatever,
Okay.
and I ask people to give submissions for those words. Then we get those, and I input them into a story. So a lot of the times it doesn't make any sense or whatever. So for this episode, we have discussed and decided I'm just going to read the story without telling you what the words are. And then apparently that's the appropriate thing to do. And I was doing it wrong.
Okay.
So I'm going to do the right thing, apparently.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Let's try that for once.
Yeah. I never do anything right.
No.
All right.
Here we go.
It was a stormy night on the high seas when Captain Scruffybeard spotted a mysterious hippo clinging to the mast.
Yeah.
By the cursed tentacles of Poseidon, he shouted, adjusting his crop top, when he had been which had been askew since the unfortunate incident with the tavern goat.
He sounds like a spicy sailor.
First mate Pickles ran up from the below deck, clutching a toilet brush when like it was a cutlass. Captain, we've got a problem in the galley. Someone replaced all of our grog with eggs. The crew groaned in unison. No one wanted to relive the last time they were stuck between the barbershop and a hurricane, buzzed only on eggs. Suddenly, a swarm of flying bananas swooped down from the crow's nest. smacking poor one-eyed Willie right in the pinky toe. "Oh, ye blast!" he cried out, stumbling backward into a pile of shorts. Captain Scruffybeard took a deep breath, pulled his trusty spyglass plus his toilet brush, and peered into the distance. "There she blows," he said. "The treasure's buried just beyond the cursed old Piggly Wiggly, right in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle." The crew stared in stunned silence, then cheered. It was time to set sail. To danger, riches, and probably a very awkward confrontation with whoever owns the Piggly Wiggly.
That's a pretty intense story.
Yeah.
There's a lot to relate there, especially bananas from the crow's nest. This is a real phenomenon, people, and we need to bring awareness to this. There's a lot of people out there in the world suffering right now from banana blows to the head from the crow's nest. Hitting. What was his name? Pinky Toe?
He was, let me read. Let me go back and see.
That guy's Pinky Toe.
One-eyed Willie.
You were about to say something totally else. Oh, Willie. We feel you, Willie. Sorry, brother. We're sorry. Bananas and pinky toes, brother.
So
Sorry.
One thing I absolutely love about Humor Libs is that people submit they don't have no idea what the story is. It just makes it so much better. I just wish that
I love the Piggly Wiggly.
Have
you ever been to a Piggly Wiggly before?
I still think it is not a legitimate thing.
The Piggly Wiggly is
sounds
legitimate.
like something in SpongeBob.
Yeah, really.
Piggly Wiggly.
No. Piggly Wiggly is legitimate, and one exists in every town. Now, it might not be branded as such, but I promise you, much like Linus and his blanket, it's there. You just have to look for the dust cloud. Promise you.
That's very cryptic.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to research that apparently.
Yes, please do. Everybody out there, research Piggly Wiggly, your neighborhood.
Well, this will be an end to the third episode that we have. I appreciate you guys being here, and thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Myron, very much for coming.
Thank you for
Bethany.
having me.
And I look forward to seeing what we can do on the next one. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with us. If something we shared reminded you of a funny or hilarious moment, we'd love to hear about it. Head over to our website, humorinthehousehold.com, to submit your funny story. And if this podcast brought you a laugh or made you feel a little less alone in the madness, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, or sharing with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next time.